here, people with 4C. Now, I already know that the other people want to talk. But I want to first say that not everybody who say they 4C is 4C. Okay, we're going to break it down. And yes, it does matter what here group you're in. And I will explain why. Okay, I will explain why in a minute. Um, if your hair shrinks super fast, even while it's wet, when you first wet it after shampoo and conditioner and you see it shrinking real fast, or your hair dries super fast, most of the time you're 4C. Okay. Um, so if it shrinks a whole lot, normally within an hour, there's like a lot of shrinkage and it dries very fast. Most of the time it is 4C here. And when I say dry fast, okay, because I want y'all to break this down because I didn't solve the whole thing. I didn't did some heavy research beyond licensed stylists, beyond what they know. Okay. When you have 4C here, 9 times out of 10, you are not low porosity. I already know there's going to be a lot of arguments in here because 4C girls are always told they're low porosity. I mean, if you go to most of the salons, the stylists will say, you're low porosity. But there's no way to tell whether 4C is low porosity until it is shampooed and conditioned. The porosity test of the hair dropping doesn't count. I know y'all want to count that test. What counts is how fast the hair dries. Okay? Whether you put water in your hair after shampoo and conditioning, and then minutes later, it's almost like you didn't put no water in it. That is high porosity here. Okay, that's high porosity. Where it's like your hair just drinks up the water so fast that it's like, why even put water in it? So that is the number one test to find out whether you're 4C. Clarify your hair. I mean, whether you're high porosity, clarify your hair. Use a hydration shampoo. Okay. Now, before I get started, I literally have less than $10 product in my hair right now. You would think this was that I got some expensive product in my hair. But I don't. I'm going to tell y'all why you don't need expensive products for your hair and what you actually need for 4C. Okay? And then I'm going to show y'all some of the parts of my 4C so y'all can see the difference between one part and another so y'all can see what's actually happening. But we'll get to that. If your hair dries very fast as soon as you wash it, after you wash it, it's normally high porosity. High porosity needs a fat-based, thick paste. And I'm going to tell you why I do. It's not because the stylists tell you that it do. Okay? It's because of where your hair came from. All right. Where your ancestors came from. Most people with 4C hair have indigenous ancestors that came from the eastern border of North America, where the Atlantic Ocean is at. Okay, the in between. It's the Native American and African tribes that's between Africa and America, the border of Atlantic Ocean. Those tribes was eating a high amount of fish. We know that fish oil and fat from fish can grow here and keep here soft and manageable and luscious and everything. So even though when you see those tribe pictures, you think they don't got 4C, they do. They're just eating a very robust fish diet that we're not eating in America. Okay? Now, if you have 4C here, you must eat the food and the food that is from the Atlantic Ocean area that's along the border of Atlantic Ocean, east of North America. Okay? Understand that hair is culture. Hair came from somewhere in the world. You didn't just show up with that hair. There was people that came before you long ago that had your hair type. So you have to eat foods that is east mostly. East. Which is cranberries. Okay? Which is food that is high in hydration, that hydrates you a lot. Why? Because 4C here struggles with hydration and moisture. So you have to eat the fruits that your Native American ancestors would have ate, who was living along the border of the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, going to these hair charts and these stylists is not enough. You have to know where your hair came from. Now, in those areas where our ancestors came from, where 4C people here came from, they had a lot of monsoon rain. It was like heavy rain periods. This is why their hair didn't get to dry out. They were eating a high fish diet. Our ancestors were eating a high fish diet. And they were getting plenty of rain. Plus they was into selling petroleum. There it is. Along the border of the Atlantic Ocean, in between Africa and North America, was tribes there. Indigenous Native American tribes. Some of them were once slaves, okay? Some of them were actually taken from that border and taken to America and made slaves. The American Europeans went to that border where the Native American indigenous 4C here people were, stole them and sold them and took them to America, and did not give them the cultural information that they needed for their hair. They introduced a pork diet to the 4C here people, pork and other stuff, which made it look like 4C people here can grow, which made our hair over time look like raggedy and unmanageable. Okay. So the thing is, when you have 4C here, you got to try to get yourself to eat fish. You have to, or avocado. You have to, or you have to snack on olives. You need the fat so that when you sweat and it comes out your sebum, that it helps to moisturize your hair. Okay. Now, if you're not eating olives and avocado, and you're not eating a variety of fish that the Native Americans that lived along the Atlantic Ocean border, if you're not eating you need to eat their fish. Okay. You need to eat the fish they were eating, which would have been like cod, mackerel, and other type of robust protein fish. 4C here needs monthly protein treatments. The Native American tribes that lived along the eastern border of North America, they were literally eating they were eating fat-based protein. Fish-based protein. So skipping on your protein treatments literally will make your 4C hair suffer. You cannot skip it, okay? You got to understand that our ancestors were rowing those boats. They were a lot of physical work going in. So their bodies needed protein. They couldn't have low protein. So monthly protein treatments, whether it's rice water, which they were getting from the Asians. The Asians didn't live far from the Native American indigenous tribe that lived along the Atlantic Ocean border. They were neighbors. So they were going to the Asians, trading possibly cranberries, cod for the rice that the Asian had, okay? Because They figure, hey, the rice is protein, good for skin and hair. When we can't fish, we can always have rice. See what I'm saying? So there was trading. The Native American ancestors of 4C here people was trading with North America and Asia and also Mexico. Okay, I'm starting to love geography. I'm loving geography because I'm learning how to take care of myself. All right, so we don't glamorize geography. We glamorize just like the food chart, going to the doctor, going to the stylist. But geography helps us to find out what we're missing in our self-care. So with 4C here, it can only lock in moisture if what you put in was a moisturizer. Okay. So for example, you would have to use something like, well, this is the North American type of mayonnaise. I guess that our ancestors or Native American ancestors probably traded to get this, the mayonnaise, they figured that out. But they might have been using just the fat from fish as a moisturizer. And they didn't mind smelling fishy because they was fishing all the time. But so when you use like a mayonnaise, you put an egg in here for the protein boost and the extra fat. You can't still moisture in if you don't have fat in your hair already. Okay? This means your conditioner has to have fat in it. So find a way to put conditioner in your fat, fat in your conditioner. Then as the hair softens, the moisturization has happened from the fat when you rinse your hair cold when you rinse the conditioner out while it's cold. Okay, cool. Then the hair and the cuticle start to close and it locks in the moisture that it got from the fat, but it's not enough. Okay, the moisture may be inside, but it's not outside the hair. So it's not a lot outside the hair. So that when the hair dry, the hair still feels a little brittle on the outside. So you're like, what do I do? Well, while the hair is still cool, wet, it has to be cool like how the ocean would feel. That's when you have to put in something that like a petroleum base, because that's what our Native American ancestors used. It was some sort of gel petroleum. They might have even got it from a certain fish that was gel fish or whatever, but they would put that in, okay, to smooth down the frizz, because frizz is an indication, often an indication of high porosity hair. Okay, real frizzy hair is often a sign of medium to high porosity. We're not counting flyaways. We're talking about frizz. Okay. Now, you didn't deep condition your hair with a fat-based protein type of substance. You cool rinse this conditioner out. Your hair is feeling soft, but you need the softness to be on the outside, and you need to keep the softness that is between the hair as well, the strands of hair. So what you have to do, y'all gonna thank me for what y'all gonna thank me. Y'all gonna thank me. Okay, this is saving y'all. This is gonna save y'all so much money. Y'all gonna be like, why ain't nobody teach me this? Okay. Hi everybody. What you have to do at that point is you have to use something that would tame the frizz, okay? Because the frizz is stopping the moisture from really getting sealed in. If the frizz is out like this, there's too much airflow. The frizz needs to go like this to lock in the moisture. People who have low porosity, they normally have lower frizz, but they often have such oily hair, just oily hair, okay? Their hair might be hard to clean and it stays wet a long time. So they're walking around with drenching wet hair that can get muddy and funky and, all of that. So they have their own problems as well. They have what you call sanitation problems because their hair product doesn't get fully absorbed by their body So the product just constantly just lays in her hair, and her hair just gets muddier and muddier and muddier. Okay, so those are low porosity to medium low porosity people. I'm talking to high porosity people in this video. The lesson I'm giving is for high porosity and for C. So your objective after you put a fat-based protein conditioner, and this is every single time you condition your hair, which is normally going to be every 2 weeks, because the hair is going to get overloaded with product. And then you're going to be like, oh, this hair needs washed. It's going to feel like low porosity hair on a really bad day. That's when you know when you need to wash 4C hair. So get back to the conditioner. After you did the conditioner, cool water. Cool. Okay. Now, I know some of y'all are saying, but I like hot oil treatments. The hot oils have to be fat-based still. You do a hot oil treatment with olive oil, okay, or avocado, or what's the other one? Castor oil. Now, you can do this by pre-warming your hair up. You don't have to heat the oil up. You can pre-warm your hair and then put the oil in. Put your cap on, let it sit on a couple minutes, and then remember, when you rinse and cool, because 4C here comes from a place where there was cold and hot temperatures. Okay, there was cool seasons, there was hot seasons, because it's in the border between Africa and between North America. Okay, the porosity in your hair, it determines how your hair gets moisturizer or hydration. Okay, it determines how fast your hair will dry, how often it needs to be moisturized, its ability to retain moisture. Okay, so high porosity people, you've been lied to. 4C people been lied to. I've been told low porosity. No, I had a girl to say, let me test your hair. Don't go by the strand falling. I had a young girl ready to graduate from salon school. She's gifted. She know her stuff. She's ready to graduate. And I figured out the reason why they tell 4C girls, you got low porosity. Because they don't want you to be able to do what you do for your hair without them. 4C hair care in the salons is big money. If they tell you you're high porosity, then 9 times out of 10, you'll figure out that you could use stuff right out of your kitchen. Because high porosity people can use stuff right out of their kitchen. Castor oil, olive oil, mayonnaise, eggs. We could use all that. It's really abundant for our hair. They will lose money. So they want us to sit here with struggle here and run to the salon and pay $20 for Design Essentials avocado twisting cream. They want us to go and pay $20 for Matrix Hairline or Mazzani. They want us to do that. It's big money. Okay, a lot of people with low porosity, they're not really chasing the salons like we chasing the salons. They're not, because with their hair, okay, they just have to deal with clarifying. They have clarifying struggles. So, and they have a higher risk of getting like fungus and stuff, because their hair is already kind of greasy. It's kind of the high sebum. So they have to really glamorize shampooing and conditioning shampoo. And shampoo is like game changing for them. It's not with us. We can't shampoo a lot unless it's a hydration shampoo. Okay, so I'm breaking it down. Back to the high porosity. After you have rinsed your hair in cool water, okay, you rinse the conditioner out in cool water. Your conditioner is crap if it doesn't have fat. Say it out to me. Your conditioner is crap if it doesn't have fat, and it needs to be alcohol free. You have to find a conditioner with no alcohol. All your products have to have alcohol free or very low to no alcohol. Your gel should never have alcohol, because what it's going to do, it's going to work against the moisture that you put in from your conditioner and your sealant. So you're just wasting product. So you need to get a gel that is literally alcohol free, like this one. Okay, alcohol free. Our ancestor did use a petroleum type of gel. Now you can find a gel that is literally like hydroglycerin, like glycerin. See, and I say our ancestors because it is. Here reveals your ancestors. I'm not going to argue with anybody about this. I already know people want to argue. I'm not. Here tells where you came from. You can say where you came from all you want, but when you wash and condition out here, there it is. You can track it on geology. Okay? All right. Exactly, because they're putting a lot of other chemicals in their product. Okay, to temporary, this is what the lady told me, to temporarily make you think that your hair is going to be moisturized when it's literally just laying soft on top. That within 3 days, it's almost like you didn't even go to the salon. The lady told me this. She said half of the products, even the shampoos that we use this over the counter, okay, they have alcohol in it on purpose to make you want to need to buy more. They have stuff in there that after the shampoo residue has been in your hair for a while, it's actually stripping your hair. You just don't know until days later. You're literally better off using organic shampoo like baking soda and water for clarification. You really only need clarification. Okay, that's all you need. Apple cider vinegar and water for helping to clarify. That's it. That's really only shampoo. The hydration is coming from the steam and with the products in your hair and the steamy air. Okay, so you can create the steam by putting a cap on your hair several nights a week to create the steam. Okay, yeah. So our ancestors was making their own stuff, making their own. Okay, so go in your refrigerator, get you some mayonnaise, crack you an egg. It has to have an egg though. 4C here needs monthly protein treatments. Monthly. Remember, our ancestors are on the border. I'm gonna say this one more time. On the east border of the Atlantic Ocean, which means accessible to the Asian people, accessible to North America. So we were getting rice, and most likely we wasn't wasting nothing. So the rice water was used for other stuff as well. Native Americans ain't in it wasted. So the rice water was also used for bathing and hair and all that type of stuff when they were trading with the Asian people. Okay, or trading with Africa. It's Africa, Asia on this side, North America on that side. We was probably trading with the chickens, getting chickens from the Africans, which was giving us eggs. And we were probably giving them cod and fish, and they was giving us goat and chicken. So there was like trading going on. Now you can stick with the Native American food that's on the border of Atlantic Ocean, or you can go ahead and do the trading energy that we all been doing. Taking a little bit from Asia, and taking a little bit from Mexico, or you can just say, I'm just gonna go ahead with the indigenous Native American tribe on the border of Atlantic Ocean, and because I know exactly what they were using. They were 4C. Now, and I looked up the Native American tribe there, and her hair literally one of the people here looks like my 4C hair when it's like this. I can tell that she's sealed in moisture. I could tell. Now, when you look at her, you see this lady's hair braided. You be like, she got gorgeous hair. You be like, she got good hair. All 4C people here look like they got good hair, just like 3A when the moisture is sealed in. Okay? You got good hair too, 4C. The only struggle you have is moisture. That's it. The struggle they have, low porosity and medium have, is unclean, unkept. Okay? Unkept. Product not being absorbed enough where their hair don't look so funky. hard to clarify their hair. They have their own struggles. So don't think that you've been singled out by the creator. They also have their own struggles. So for example, I have a family member in here that has low porosity. Okay. When I tell you just 2 weeks of not washing his hair, it looks like he went rolling around with the pigs. Though he didn't put nothing in his hair. Nothing in his hair looks like swamp. That's how much he struggles with his low porosity hair. Okay? The sweat and the sebum and the oils just doesn't really get absorbed, and it's just like it doesn't get full. So his hair just looks like it looks older than it looks in just 2 weeks. It's not even glowing. It just looks like straight up ratchet fur. Okay? I'm just keeping it real. So he has to go get shampoo every month. If he don't get shampoo every month, he might actually get a disease. This is serious, y'all. So that's low porosity. Hi, everybody. Okay. I'm going to say this one more time. 4C hair cannot get moisture if a moisturizer conditioner was not in it already. We call it conditioner. They didn't call it conditioner. The Native Americans that lived along the Atlantic border did not call it conditioner. All they did was call it a softener. That's all they did. So unless you put it in your hair before, it doesn't matter what you use. It's not going to stay in your hair. It's not going to penetrate. So you put it in your hair first. All right. As I said, the Native Americans had some sort of gel. I think they were actually getting it from the fish. I think we're calling it petroleum. Maybe they found another way to create that gel effect. But I'm thinking they was harvesting this gel from sea animals. And they were somehow making it smell good as well. And using that to seal in the moisture that they got from the fat that they put in their hair. You could actually use just straight up fat. You could actually use, like, I guess, a fish paste. They were probably using fish paste as well. And like putting the fish in their hair. Because remember that they was eating fish all the time. We think fish stink. To the indigenous tribe, it smelled wonderful. Okay. So we know today you can't walk around smelling like a bowl of fish or somebody gonna talk about you. But the indigenous people, they wasn't worried about that smell. It was an abundant smell to them. Long as it wasn't like dead fish. Like rotten fish. So now here's the thing. After you rinse this conditioner and egg protein out with cold water. I know a lot of people say, go to jail. Actually, no. You need a thick paste that will help seal the moisture in from here. Now, Blue Magic grease is very good. Now, this one is good, and here's the reason why it's good. It's because castor oil. A lot of people say castor oil. Castor oil changed the game because castor oil presses down your frizz and it makes your hair get closer. Okay, when it's in a paste form, it helps to keep the frizz down so the moisture stay in. Okay. So this is why castor oil is good. Now, castor oil can still be used on low porosity, but it must be used as a hot oil rinse out treatment. Okay. So for low porosity people, you put it in your hair while your hair is warm or whatever, and then you'll rinse it out in the shower, like my daughter do. If you have high porosity, the oil version without the paste is not going to work. It's just going to lay. It has to be able to get the hair to close up. So it needs a paste of some kind with it. All right. Now, the shea butter was in Africa, And it's also a butter. I think the natives along the Atlantic Ocean border was trading to get from from Africans. So I think the Native American tribe was giving Africans petroleum, and they was giving us the Native Americans, they was giving us shea butter. That's how I think it went, y'all. Okay. So basically this is like, it's a shea butter and a castor oil would mean that it's a two type of moisturizer, two type of sealing moisturizer. Shea butter does seal, so does castor oil. So basically this would be for somebody with very frizzy hair, okay? Very frizzy, dry hair, okay? If you have 4C hair, you actually need a double sealant. Where 4B might be like, I'm good, I just use shea butter. I hear some 4B girls say, shea butter good. I'd be like, nah, sis, I need two. I need two on this head. So castor oil and shea butter at the same time. Now, aloe vera is actually a scalp detoxer. It keeps the fungus population down so that doesn't disturb the growth cycle. So when people say aloe vera grow my hair, it's because it's actually keeping the hair detoxed, okay, so that the growth don't slow. So the fastest your hair could grow is allowed because the aloe vera is in there. Bacteria and fungus does slow your hair growth down. I'm not trying to be gross, but you'll notice that when you're younger and you're not at higher risk of, this is adult conversation, you're not at higher risk of BV yeast, your underarm hairs will grow real long, your vagina hairs will grow real long. Okay, so that's evidence right there. When you get older, your pH is a little unstable. So you'll notice that even your genital hair and stuff is growing slower. One way to tell if your pH is doing really good is if your hair's not suddenly slowing down, like it's the same length for months and stuff, and you haven't seen no hair fall. Okay. Now this is why it's important to cleanse your body, your hair, every now and then with sea salt water, because the Native Americans with the 4C hair they was always in the ocean. So sometimes taking a spritz before you shampoo your hair and just spritzing your hair with sea salt water, okay, to like detox it. That salt will like go in, any infections, any whatever, and then you shampoo it out or whatever. Okay. Remember that when you're 4C, the toxin and the bacteria, fungus can hide in there. So this is why like having a sea salt water and aloe vera monthly hair peppermint treatment before you shampoo helps to get it all out so it doesn't disturb the growth cycle. Okay. All right. So now after the conditioner comes the double fat. I'll call it fat, double fatty ingredients to seal. But that's not enough. That's only sealing. That's only sealing what you already put in from the conditioner. You need to seal what you just put in, okay, on top of the hair. So then the gel is going to help to get the grease to penetrate. So then you put the gel on. Now I know people saying I stop at gel. Wrong. The last thing that's supposed to be in your hair is actually the grease. It's actually the grease. So it's grease, gel, grease. That's how it goes. But you cannot do this if your hair is wet. No water, no moisture. The trick is keeping the hair wet as you're doing this. So you're misting, after the conditioner, you're misting your hair with water. Okay, you're putting the grease in. You're mixing the hair with water. It has to stay wet. You put the gel in, then another little mist with water, and then you put the grease in again. Okay, then you're in with the grease. Now, of course, if you like your hair shiny, you can find a high porosity oil that would shine your hair. But 9 times out of 10, if you're using a aloe vera based gel or grease, then the shine will be there, like this one. Okay, this has aloe in it, and so does this. Okay, so you 9 times out of 10, you won't need to put a shiner in there. Every couple days, believe it or not, you're going to have to do this all over again. I know people say, well, not me, I put it on 1 week. You don't keep the sebum that you're actually creating, because this is like homemade sebum, that gets ate up within days in high porosity hair. Days, y'all. Sometimes in 2 days it's like completely gone. Now, one way to preserve it is to put a cap on your hair that will allow steam to stay in your hair. Then you could preserve the moisture a couple days. But if you're using a silk and satin scarf, within a couple days, you're going to have to do this process again. Now, what I love about doing it again is that you don't have to take the 2-strand twist out. Okay, you don't have to take the twist out. Now, what I don't do no more is I don't twist my hair all the way to the end. I don't do it all the way to the end. I don't twist it to the end because I don't want my ends to be locked. When I go to take it out, I might end up breaking the end. I might end up breaking the end as I'm combing it. So what I do is I only 2-strand twist it at the root and then halfway up, and then I finger coil to respect the ends of my hair since they are fragile and I need to retain length. I'm trying to retain length. Unless you are doing jumbo twist, and you could be really careful with taking your end out, I would just finger coil it on the end. I had a white stylist say, your hair type is better off finger coiled at the end, so that you don't risk breakage when you're trying to get it loose. It's already kind of loose, so then it will be like easier to, go up and take it out. Now, I'm going to give y'all an example of what I'm talking about. See how there's frizz there? There's some frizz there. See that? Do y'all see that? This means this is not going to seal much here. That's not going to seal much. See how that feels a little bit too dry? There's like way too much frizz right there. So this means I would have to take that part out. And I heard a little crunch, which means it's out. It needs to reseal there. So give y'all an example. I don't have to take the whole thing out. I just have to take where all the frizz is out. Just take that part out. This is called taming. Wherever I see the frizz is too frizzy, I know that I'm not getting much moisture. I know that. So I wet it. Okay. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of grease in it. Now, I might twist it a little bit further down. And then get it like that. Okay. Now, because I already had gel in it, I don't really have to put any more gel in it. Grease in it. I have to put the gel in to help seal the grease in. So, see how I'm smoothing it down? When the frizz is sealed in, it prevents breakage. It prevents breakage, everybody. So, now see, less frizz. See, there's less frizz there. Just the curly end part. So this is how you re-maintain it after you do it, like a day later or 2 days later. If you're moving around on the bed then you're going to cause the unraveling to happen. And then the moisture is not going to be sealed in. So one way you can prevent that from happening is to take the hair and pin it down. Pin it down flat. Pin it under your cap. Pin it. That way you don't rough it up when you're sleeping and cause the frizz to happen, cause it to unravel. Okay? Our ancestors were actually doing their hair daily. I know that we've been told something different, like, oh, they do this once a month. No, they were actually really into self-care. So whenever they weren't cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids, they would assess each other's hair and look to see where it looks like the hair needs a little bit more moisture sealing or anything like that. They didn't always just take their hair down and redo it. They was able to go a whole month, sometimes even 2 months without actually taking their hair down and redo it, because they were doing spot care. They were just looking at the spots in their hair, different parts that was dried out from laying on it all night or moving around, and they were just taking care of those specific sessions. Now, here's something I realized before. See here, when you have gray in your hair, when you have gray and 4C hair, it is going to feel a little wiry. You can't get the wiry completely gone. You can't get it completely gone. And I know some of y'all been told something different, but the firmness of it is actually a good thing, because it keeps it from being able to be snatched and broken and torn up. So you do want it to feel a little firm. You do want some firmness to the hair. Okay, it should feel kind of like a little bit like firm rope. That way, like it's almost locked, like it would feel if it was halfway through the lock journey. That way, it can't be easily detangled. Okay. So what you do is you get your mirror out and you just kind of look, and you're looking for, like, okay, where does it look a little bit too frizzy dry? If it looks frizzy dry, then it's probably not enough moisture. Like that one, see how that looks a little frizzy dry? Okay. This is because the front of my hair is in the sun. The front of your hair, the edges are slow to grow because it's the part that is often in the sunshine. This is in the sunshine a lot when you're facing the sun. So of course it's going to be hard to keep it moisturized. So I'm getting the frizz to go down so I can seal in the moisture. There we go. Okay. So see how it doesn't look dry. It doesn't have the crispy look that it had a moment ago. It doesn't look so crispy, extra crispy. That means that it's getting some moisture. Like this one is a little crispy. See, this is the side that I was sleeping on. So this is why this side ends up drier. See, this is the side I'm always on. Okay. Notice, as I said, I put the grease in first, then I put the gel in. And because I already have grease in it, I don't need to finish with a grease. I don't need to finish. But if I was just setting my hair from the top, I would add the grease in. I would add the grease in again as the final step. Hi, everybody. Somebody said, well. What you're doing every day as a 4C hair person is you're checking for dryness. If it feels too dry, then you got to seal again. Okay? Sometimes where you live at, it causes the hair to dry faster. the moisture, the struggle. I live in a very dry city, okay? So where you live at will affect. So I felt like this one needed a little bit more on it. Where you live at will affect um, the dryness of your hair, and that's just the truth. Where I live at, we don't get enough rain. There's not enough rain here, and the rain here is toxic because of all the mills and the pollution. So it's not like I could go out there and be in monsoon rain like my Native Americans were, my ancestors were, and get all the water in and all that. It's not going to work out here. It doesn't even get humid enough, steamy enough out here for my hair. It's like, so I'm living too north. I'm too north. I'm too north. Because I live southeast, my hair is struggling. If I live just in the east of north, the weather would be better for my hair. So if you have 4C here, you want to try to live as east as you can. You want to pack your bag. When you want to move, say, I need to live east. Because my indigenous ancestors was living actually closer to the Atlantic Ocean. So if I'm living more further, if I go south, actually southeast, that's not to southeast. I'm getting into more like scorching heat and not enough steam and cool to seal in moisture. That's too much heat. Too much. I would need to be east or northeast. Northeast would give me the heat and the cool, which 4C here need. But I'm living southeast, which is like just humidity. It's not actually cool air. I was saying, but people, ooh, child, did I just drop this cap in there? No, I didn't. No, I didn't, y'all. Okay. I was saying, but people be starting too much trouble on here when I sing, and I ain't got time for that energy today. There's a lot of haters and jealous people. People get jealous when you sing, and you have a little bit of a voice. I don't feel like that hate energy. Okay. Oh, hi, Quan. So, when black people say, well, I don't have no culture. Yes, you do. Look at your hair. Now, keep in mind, there was dark Persians, Peru, and there was also an African tribe that lived along the Atlantic Ocean border. That was an African tribe there, but it was also, they were not far from a Native American tribe. Okay. So all you do is you want to track the geography. You want to try to track the geography. Now, one thing I found out about 4C here, you need to shampoo only when it's necessary, because I don't care what shampoo you use. It strips all the moisture out. Okay, then you gotta, unless you have a shampoo that actually puts moisture in, which is like you would pay $25 for that shampoo. It's expensive, very expensive, and it's still, you're set back. When you wash your hair, you're set back a lot in moisture when you're 4C. So you want to try to go as far as you can, long as you can, without clarifying. If it gets too itchy, I'll say do a little peppermint, maybe tea wash. Get you some peppermint tea and rinse your scalp with it or whatever. And just clarify the scalp, get rid of the scalp, but that's not going to strip the moisture. Peppermint's not going to strip the moisture out your hair. So, yeah, this is why people say their hair grow faster when they have locks, is that they're not really stripping the moisture out. The moisture, every little bit of moisture that they put in when they got those locks is actually being absorbed. So, and then when they go to get their locks again, there's a resealing of the moisture when they're getting, relocked. When they get in the roots relocked, there's a sealing process that go on again. I know some people say, well, vapor rub. Vapor rub is a wonderful sealer to seal after you use your conditioner. Now you can use vapor rub, okay, because I think does have glycerin or petroleum in it. So you can use your fat-based protein conditioner, wash it out in cool water, put the vapor rub in your hair, use your gel, and then end it with more vapor rub. And you have to do all this while your hair is wet. It has to still be wet after the conditioner, and then you're done. Now, vapor rub has ingredients in there to stimulate hair growth. So, of course, when you use vapor rub, you can apply it to your scalp first. When you're using hair grease like this, not everybody can have this on their scalp because some people they sweat too hard, and then the grease, it starts to with the sweat and all that, it starts to create higher toxins, and then their scalp starts to feel creepy and crawly and itchy. But vapor rub doesn't cause that, and neither does sulfurate. The problem with using sulfurate is that it doesn't really have a fat-based type of oil that would help seal in moisture. It doesn't. So what you can do is put the sulfurate on your scalp only. You can pre-grease your scalp with sulfurate and then use the grease only for your hair. You can do that. Okay, you can do it like that. Of course, though, if you use a grease that is like Blue Magic grease and it's peppermint grease, it's the peppermint Blue Magic. Yeah, it's going to promote hair growth, but it's not going to do much in sealing. So you would still have to add some castor oil to that Blue Magic peppermint grease. I saw that they got Blue Magic peppermint grease. So if I want to use it, I would add castor oil and shea butter to the Blue Magic peppermint grease. That way I could get the hair growing oil plus the oils that seal. Okay? Remember that you'll know when you're using an oil to seal is that it's really good at getting the frizz to go down. Okay? That's where the part of sealing is. It's not like, oh, you're hiding your frizzy hair. It's you're closing the hair so the moisture gets trapped between all the hair. Okay, and then like a steam effect starts to happen in there because no air could go in and out. Not much air could go in and out the strands. Okay. Now, I know that aloe vera is one of those oils that needs to be kind of dominated by another oil because aloe vera is not exactly 4C high porosity oil. It's kind of like it's really for 4C here just to help stimulate growth, really. It's not doing much but shining and stimulating growth. It's not really doesn't do much for sealing and moisture. It doesn't even help with that. I don't know where that came from. Like aloe vera adds moisture to my hair. The moisture that's coming is literally from the moisture that's been put in your hair from your conditioner, from your fat. Also, you need to seal because the protein that's went into your hair actually needs to be sealed in too. So when you use protein in your conditioner, the protein may not penetrate without something that seals. Okay. Now, we know there's Asian people with 4C hair, 4B, and there's Asian people with 3A low porosity hair. But if you ever notice, they're different blood types. The low porosity Asian people here, they normally is like B negative or A or O. Community are B positive or AB. Most of them are. Okay. Or they're A with the RH factor. It means that they have, and they may not want to hear this, it means that they have African or Native American ancestors. Either their grandfather was Native American. They had a grandfather Native American that lived that was around the Atlantic Ocean or Gulf, somewhere around there, or they had an African or Mexican ancestor. Grandfather, you primarily get your blood type from your father. So when you see Asian people with 4C here, like they showing up on YouTube, 4B here, they need to stop saying they full-blooded Asian. They ain't full-blooded Asian. They actually have an indigenous Native American ancestor or Mexican, indigenous Mexican, an indigenous family member that was actually of color, might have been light skinned up the tree, but still had 4C here because they might have had a grandfather that was indigenous. Period. Y'all know I stay triggering people. The Asian people that don't got 4C here, 4B here, 4A here, those people are actually from up in Asia. Their ancestors didn't really come so close to the border where the African and Peru tribes was and the Mexicans were. The ones that lived closer to the border that they could trade, their ancestors didn't come from there. Their ancestors most likely came from far up in India. Yeah, I said it. Because India is there too. But the 4C people here, you can still have India ancestors. It's just that you have indigenous India, not the Indians that are there now, not the Indians that are in India now. And I'm not trying to offend any Indians in India, but once upon a time, there was indigenous Native American Indians there that had 4C here. I looked it up and looked up some indigenous ones that are indigenous, and they look like they got a tight coil in their hair, some type of tight coil here with some petroleum type moisturizer in, and it's like they braided it. It grew long, but you would think it was like for A here, but it's not. It's just real well kept, moisturized hair. Hi, everybody. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much, Shantae. Shantae, I missed your comment. It's very healthy, y'all. It's very, very healthy. I threw away everything in my basket that was low porosity. Sometimes they sneak low porosity stuff into the products of 4C hair products. And then we say, how come this product is passive aggressive? It worked the first day, but it ain't working the next day. They put low porosity products in like apricot and things like that. Okay. I should get my tablet so I can go over the list. I found a couple things in like list of stuff that you can use if you're low porosity or high porosity. Now I know people saying I'm neither, I'm medium. Medium porosity is often, and this is going to trigger some people, is people that actually have a lot of mixed bloodline. Okay, that would be like medium porosity. It could be like the porosity tends to worsen according to the seasons. So it's like it's almost like they got both porosity sometimes. Like my daughter, she has Viking ancestry, Blackfoot ancestry, and Irish ancestry, and Native American, India indigenous ancestors. So she has a variety. So she has medium. So with her here, with my daughter here, okay, she has to use her moisturizer she can't use this because she's medium. She has to use like a semi-thick lotion. So for example, let me see if I got the gel here. Her gel versus mine. Okay. Her gel is a little bit thinner than mine. Okay. Her hair is more, she maintains more oil in her hair, naturally sebum, than mine's do. But not enough to sustain her moisture for days. Okay, not enough. Not enough. So she has to her hair thrives off oil treatments like Asian people's hair do. The Asians who are not B positive and the Indians who are not B positive. Her hair thrives off oils like theirs do. So she likes the hot oil treatments and the semi-thick lotion and the semi-thin gel where the gel is more jiggly because she's medium porosity. Her gel can't be like super thin gel because she's medium porosity. Her gel has to be a little bit leaner, little bit leaner than mine. Now, and I know people are like, oh, gel makes you fake. Gel, people love to say, gel makes people fake their hair texture. No, it doesn't. Gel is, all it's doing is closing the frizz so the moisture stay in. That is it. That is it. The texture is still there. It's just stacked. The wavy texture is still there. It's just stacked. Even when I don't finger coil my hair, if I sat here and I just went like this with the gel and the grease, y'all would see like literally like waves. Y'all would see crimpy. It would be gorgeous crimpy like you seen in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, like the way their hair looked back in the 1940s when all they did was stroke it through and then let it sit and then pin it. They're gorgeous like that. So I don't need to finger coil my hair. I don't need that. All I can do is rake it through, flattening, closing, getting the strands of frizzy hair to be closer. That way it stays down, moisture stays trapped in. That's what gel is for. It's not getting nobody to fake their texture. If you ever, like I said, if you ever look at the hair before the gel and you can see the crimps going like this. But because it is the heat, the humidity is making it go any kind of way at times. It looks like it's not tamed. It looks like there's no taming to it. With 4C hair, the humidity will make the hair like all over the place, okay? Like lightning. Because our hair is not used to being in humidity 24/7 or like humid summers. Our hair is used to being in cold and hot climate. The cold climate will give us a time of year where our hair would be tighter, the less frizz would, and it'd be closer, and the moisture would get sealed in. Then the sunny, not humid, the sunny will help to seal in the moisture. So we lived in the sunny and cool part. That's where 4C hair comes from, sunny and cold. Not humid and scorching hot, okay? All right. What somebody say? I'm telling you, I'm not going. You're the best thing. And I'm telling you. I don't know how that song go, y'all. I'm telling you. Jennifer Hudson. Spotlight. Living under your spotlight. Maybe if you do me right. Find somebody worthy. Oh, I don't like living under your spotlight. Maybe if you treat me right. All right, bye everybody. I will do a part 2 in the next video. I will be talking about and certain things and ingredients, also diet. If you have 4C hair, you boost your hair growth by eating chlorophyll and seaweed. It has to be like vegetables that probably would be grown not far from the sea. So, or it looks like seafood vegetables like kale. Okay, so you want to eat kale and yeah, vitamin B, vitamin B12 rich groups, enriched vitamin food. However, 4C people need a regular hydration diet. So make a list of different foods that will hydrate you and just eat a few of those through as a snack. Like you need hydration food snacks. You can't just eat any old fruit as a snack. Your ancestors were living where the hydration type food was growing, especially where they were able to trade with other tribes that was into hydration, like certain African tribes like watermelon. Okay, bye everybody. I'll see y'all later. Bye.